Hey crew, so you got a 3D part you want to print. First thing you're going to want to do is go up to File, Export, and then CAD Format. Once that window pops up, you want to make sure that you're saving in a folder that is your folder somewhere on the group drive. Probably in the Genota Course CAD folders or CAD 2, wherever you're in. And then we're going to want to switch our file type to an STL. STL files. Now, if it's the first time you've saved, you're also going to want to go to the Options button, because we got to make sure that we're exporting in millimeters and with a high resolution. Okay, so make sure both of those are set to millimeters and then the high resolution. Click OK, and once again, saving it where you know you can access it. Click Save, and there you go. You've just created the STL that we can now use in the print slicing software. So let's switch over to that. Prusa Slicer. Little black and orange circle symbol. If it's the first time you've launched it, you're also going to get like a little configuration window that pops up. I kind of had to open mine manually. And no, we can't install updates, so don't worry about that. So once this configuration window pops up, we're going to go to the FFF menu. The MK4s will probably be selected, it's okay. But we want to go down to MK3 and then add the 0.4 on that first machine. The MK3 plus 0.4, check that box. That's all the printers in the classroom. And then switch over to filaments. And we're going to want to check the box for all the Prusament filaments. So go ahead and check all of those. And then we can click the Finish button in the bottom right corner. And if it didn't switch over to the MK3 platter, kind of look at that board. Right here is where the drop is, the switch between printers. Most of the machines are MK3s. We have a couple of MK4s, and depending on how old this video is, main thing is make sure you just know which printers you'll be using. And you can ask me if needed. The other big thing with printers is what print setting we're going to run, so what layer thicknesses. So 15s or 20s are what you're going to use most of the time. This is the button that we use to bring in our STL file. So we're going to click on that and then go find that file that you created or whatever it is that you want to print. So click on it and then open. Brings it in. Now it might not be the right orientation, so we got to rotate it often. That's the button on the left, and then you can rotate whichever direction you need to make it sit right or print the best, and that's just a choice you got to make. And there's also a button on the left there that just says choose what surface you want to have it lay flat down onto. And that's a really easy button to use to just make sure the bottom is the bottom, for example. Once we have it set the way we want it, once again we'll go over and look at that print quality, and like I said, 15s if it's a little more curvy or has hollow spots that you maybe need to fill in, 20 if it's kind of a box shape, and really those are the two we use the most. Then we're also going to set what filament we're using. If you're not sure, go over and look at the machines to see what's on them. And then support, that's a choice you just got to decide if it has overhanging surfaces or if it has holes cut through it. You're going to probably want some kind of support. And it's probably safer to put them on just to see what you get when you slice it here in just a minute. So for support, everywhere is the one we use the most. We use most of the time. And then we can hit that Slice Now button at the bottom, and sure enough, the slicing software thinks we need some support, but I don't like that style support as much. So we're going to go up to Print Settings, go over to the other side, click Advanced, go back to the left, click on Support Material, and then just a little bit down, you'll see the box that says Grid. We're going to switch that to Organic. Just a much better support print style. Back to the platter button, or platter menu, and then back on the bottom right, Slice Now one more time, which will give us our updated supports. You'll see they kind of look like little tree branches, and really, really awesome support system. Easy to break off, doesn't affect the surface quality, really handy. So all that looks pretty good. So like the way the support's looking there, so we need to go over to the printers then and get an SD card out of that. And while we're at the printer, we're also going to take a look and just double or triple check that we have the filament that we want on there. In this case, you can see a PLA. So it's important to know what filament is on the printer every time you print and how much is on there. But then we'll grab the SD card out of the printer and then just pull off to the left there. And we'll also grab the adapter. Hopefully there's one sitting on the side of the machine like this, kind of like a USB stick. And we head back over to our desk, put the SD card in the adapter. One side will fit better than the other, and sometimes you just gotta flip the SD card around. If it doesn't go in easy, don't force it. Flip it around and try it in another direction. Once we get the SD card in the adapter, put the whole thing into a USB slot on our computer. And then on Prusa Slicer, you're going to see a little button show up in the bottom right corner. Once I swing over there, little tiny button in the corner, a little orange box, computer symbol, and that means export to SD card. I go put my mouse on that here in just a minute. Here we go, click on it, pops a window up, which is automatically going to be saving the G code to our SD card. Once again, right to the SD card's fine. And then eject button. And then we can take the USB stick out of the computer. Go back over to the 3D printers. And take that SD card. And make sure you have the brass pins showing. And then that pushes back into the Prusa printer. Just push all the way till it bottoms out. And you'll see it'll load into the files, but we're not quite ready yet. We actually need to take the green platter off and clean it quick before we print. So with both hands, lift up on the front a little bit and then slide that green sheet out towards you. Hit it with a squirt or two of the isopropyl alcohol, a couple of Kleenexes, and then we'll wipe that all down to make sure it's a nice clean surface. Make sure all the old plastic was taken off first. Should have mentioned that a little earlier. So should be a nice clean smooth surface to print with. And then we set the green platter kind of back on the back edge first, lining those pins up and then guide it down. Just be careful not to let it slap too hard. Once that's on, we center click the knob, scroll down to print from SD, not too fast on the dial, but center click for selection, scroll down to your file, center click again. And if it does say firmware, just click one more time, and that finally starts it. And you should be off and printing. Make sure you come back and check the first layer, though, please, in about 5 minutes. That's when most issues do occur. Thanks for watching.